and welcome to Big Dave's Shed. In this video I'm doing a follow-up to one I did a little while back, in which we basically put together a basic toolkit for £10, one that's designed for household or DIY tasks. So here we go. We're going to go with the same idea of a £10 budget. And the idea of this is really to show you, especially if you're just starting out, you've probably got no idea what tools you need, which ones you don't. I've had a lot of experience with this, so can sort of hopefully give you a few tips on what are going to be more useful to you as you're starting out. It might be your first home, or you've just bought yourself a load of flat packs. You are going to need some basic tools to get you started. For all those smaller jobs around the home that we all come across. So the first thing we need is a toolbox. Now in the last video we used one from Wilkinson, which was a nice sturdy little box, but the Poundland one, which is this one, has the benefit of a clear top. Now that in itself is of no use whatsoever, but underneath that is 5 little compartments. I'm going to show you some ideas for what to put in there a bit later on, and obviously with the clear viewing window you can see where they are. So that's quite a useful thing to have. Now I did say in the last video that this is quite a flimsy one, and indeed it does feel that way. Everything's a bit plasticky. It is obviously only £1, so we can't have that high expectations. However, I have had one of these in my caravan for about 4 or 5 years, and despite its, not feeling very strong, it's lasted a long time and is not broken, cracked or anything. I think it's actually because it's made of quite a soft plastic, so it's a bit more giving and flexible, and perhaps less brittle than some of the other ones. So really, despite the fact it doesn't feel that secure, it's absolutely fine. So we're going to open it up and we're going to put our tools right in there, just to show you really that everything will fit in quite well. So the first thing we need is a hammer, or a small claw hammer, obviously for banging in nails. But the claw part of it, you might not realise, is actually for levering out old screws or nails. If you're tapping in a sort of especially fine wire nails and it kind of bends over, as they do if you don't hit it head on, it's not going to be of any use, so you need to pull that back out. So you just put that under there and lever away. You can also use it, if you're trying to remove a bit of old architrave, that kind of thing. But yeah, you can't go wrong for £1. It's a nice small size. It's not going to be any good for whacking in masonry nails or anything like that, but for pretty much everything around the home, that'll be fine. Good weight, not too heavy, not too light, so you can very comfortable in the hand. So that's our first item. Now the next one is this one here, which is actually a selection of assorted screws. Now this came out of Poundland, and I was really surprised actually. I mean, I buy tray cases from Screwfix personally, but I have to admit this is one that I've actually been using for a while, just to get a feel for the thing, because I'm trying to find what stores sell the best of each item. I wasn't thinking these were going to be that good, to be honest. Cheap screws, the heads are normally not formed well, or they chew up, but actually these are surprisingly good. Obviously a bit limited in the size range, but for most tasks around the home, they're going to be ideal. So that is a very handy thing to have. So we'll put that in there. Okay, the next one is a retractable knife. This one comes from Wilko, as you can see there. The advantage of some of the Wilko tools is actually they're less than £1. They're 95p. Now this one is really good actually, because it's all metal, pressed steel, and it's a retractable knife. So basically the blade goes into a holder and you can lock that in a closed or open position. Now the one in Poundland I did notice looks similar on the front, but I realised actually the back is all plastic. And a knife is a dangerous thing, so you want something that's strong and sturdy. You don't want to go slipping or the thing to break. So I would advise against using anything like those plastic disposable knives or the one in Poundland on that basis. This is quite a good sturdy mechanism, you know, it's not going to suddenly disappear on you. And you're going to use this for all kinds of things, you know, anything from opening a flat pack in the first place to, you know, maybe cutting a piece of plasterboard, etc. So it's a really useful thing to have. Okay, the next item, or two items, because we actually got two for £1 here, again in Wilko's. Now the tape measure was 70p, this is 30p, you've seen that in the last video. Now the tape measure we can obviously get in Poundland and Poundworld probably, a 5 metre one for £1. This is a 3 metre one and it's 70p. Nice bright colour, so you're not going to lose it anytime soon. It's got a belt clip and a little carry strap. From experience, around the home, most people don't really need anything longer than a 3 metre tape measure. And some of the drawbacks of the larger ones is, especially with the cheaper ones, is that a locking mechanism isn't really strong enough to hold the extended tape. So of course if you're measuring single-handedly, you need to lock it in position just so you can read off the mark. And really, you know, if you think about the limitations, I mean, your ceilings are generally about 2.4 meters. Most of the sheet materials you buy, you know, MDF, plywood, etc., the larger sheets are generally 8 by 4 foot. So this covers that. So really, you know, you don't need more than 3 meters for most tasks. Obviously, if you're using it in the garden, you'll want a larger one. But, you know, we are dealing with a little toolkit for the house, so that will be ideal. And of course insulation tape, as I mentioned in the last video, is very useful stuff to have around, so we'll put that in there. Okay, the next item is a pair of pliers. We had this in the last video. This is one from Poundland and it's just a little bit larger than the ones in Wilkinson, so it's maybe a bit easier to get a decent grip on it. It's a combination plier because it has the little cutter there, and you're going to use this all the time, you know, whether it's just for holding the bolt steady while you undo the nuts. So that's going in the box. And then actually the next one is in fact a smaller version of that, which is from Poundland. So basically we got a very small version of what we just looked at there. So that's a useful thing to have. And also this one here, which is a little side cutter. It does actually cut pretty well as well. Now this is good for snipping a bit of wire, you know, whether it's actually part of a cable, a bit of RF cable for a TV, that kind of thing. So again, a useful thing to have, or even just cutting old cable ties, that kind of thing. Here we go, a level. Now this is what they call a torpedo level. Now in Poundland they do one which on the face of it looks more impressive. It's a little box level. The great trouble with cheap ones of those is that they're easily damaged because they're so thin. You know, if you just tapped it, it's probably going to put a dent in it. And the thing about a level, it's all about accuracy. Now this one is ABS plastic, or very tough anyway, and it's actually a really versatile little level to keep. Fits in the box nice. The first thing is it's actually got this ribbed back on it, and the purpose of that is so that you can actually put it against round items or poles, you know, so it sort of goes around like that. A bit difficult to demonstrate. And you've got the 3 vials there, so we've got the 45-degree angle, horizontal and vertical. Now the rule with levels is you buy one according to the sort of size of the item you're leveling up, you know. So if you're doing a small shelf, you really only want a small level, but a larger level gives you more accuracy. Now this is going to be really useful for things really up to about sort of a metre. Beyond that you're going to need a slightly bigger level, but I found this incredibly accurate actually, and a good way to test it before you buy it is to sight it on something that does appear to be level. This is my old chair. As you can see, it's slightly out there, and then just turn it around, and you should see that it's in exactly the same position. That means it's accurate. It's very strong, so it's not actually going to distort or anything like that, and that fits very nicely in the box. Okay, the next one is this little thing here, which is absolutely brilliant. It's from Poundland. I dare say other places sell them as well. I know Maplings certainly do, and they charge about £6 for it. This is a precision screwdriver, is basically what it's called, and it came, or comes with, I'll just undo the end there, all the little screwdriver bits actually store in the body of the screwdriver. It's aluminium, like the little torches, so very strong. And you basically get, I think it's 3 Phillips bits, 3 slotted bits, and 3 Torx bits. Now these are really useful for things like even just battery compartments, you know, which have retainer screws, kids' toys. It's a really useful size to have around. Obviously you're not going to use it for any of these things. It's aimed at sort of PC use, I suppose, really, or, you know, small electronic stuff. Some more screwdrivers, and this time we've got a selection of 6. These came from Poundworld, and unlike the Poundland ones we had in the last video, you actually got 5. I quite like these because they got nice bright handles, so good firm grip on those. They're sort of ribbed. I don't know if you can see that, so you can really get a good tight grip on that. You've got various sizes there, as you can see. If I just put them there, you get 3 Phillips posi ones and 3 slotted ones. I even use this to put together the overbed table that you'll see in another video. I mean, the only thing about cheap screwdrivers, which is common with all of them really, is the ends will chew up or round over. But these really will take care of most of the smaller jobs that you come across. And put those in there. So there we are, there's a £10 budget DIY toolkit. Now I think you'll agree that most of those things are all very useful things to have, and that really will, surprisingly, take care of most of the tasks that you do around the home. For somebody that's just moved into their first place and, you know, maybe just putting up a few shelves, just getting started with the basics, this is going to be absolutely ideal. Now I do use a lot of professional tools, and I keep something just like this in my home because it's my sort of go-to toolkit. You know, I find that I'm always amazed at how many things I can do with just a basic selection of tools just like this. So yeah, really useful thing to have. Now I did say I would show you a couple of ideas for the compartments on the top. So things like terminal strip is always a very good thing to have around. So you could put that in one of them, like so. And then we have these fixers. Now these are really great little things for, you know, shelving in cupboards, repairing the joints on flat packs. Quite often they're sort of cam fixers that will go on an internal corner, screw either side, and that will give you a nice secure fixing. So that's a useful thing to have. Put those in there. Something I'd definitely recommend you consider putting in there are some fuses, household fuses. Now they come in 13, 5 and 3 amp. They're the most popular ones, and you'll find generally that it's the appliances in your kitchen that use 13 amp fuses, or things that are very high wattage like fan heaters, portable heaters. The 5 amp one is used for sort of medium things like drills, vacuum cleaners, that type of thing. And then the 3 amp one is probably the most popular one. That's for small items like table lamps, TVs, DVD players, that kind of thing. So a really good idea to keep a selection of those. You can get them for about £1 and you'll get a selection of each type of fuse. And it's all, you know, if something fails, it's always worth checking that first. hope that really proves useful. Sorry for a very long video. But yeah, it's just to really show you that you can create a pretty useful toolbox without spending a lot of money. So there we are, I'll wrap it up there, and I hope you enjoyed watching.